Let's talk some UFOs. It's skywatching time.
Red alert!
Hell yeah, it's Friday night. Happy Friday, everyone. I'm Tom King. This is the 4K Skywatching podcast. This is the 43rd episode of one of these. It is November 14th, almost at the end of the year, 2025. Tonight it's going to be a fun show. I love these type of shows. Shows with a lot of footage. Who doesn't want to look at some interesting UFO footage? Last show, I don't think people liked very much, but that was how we get some of this footage. So yeah, tech stuff has to be done. We're going to get into some Turkish footage tonight, some very interesting stuff. Somewhere out there is like a parallel dimension of people I don't know doing the exact same thing I'm doing right now. And you stumble upon these people. Now, this would have been a lot easier years ago. But everyone knows that Google nuked their own search algorithm, and so did YouTube. This happened in 2019. That's when the change took effect. Before that, you could type in UFO stuff, and it would actually come up in a search. Now, only mainstream media results come up, or you have to type the exact same thing in the search. What happened is Google hired a company called the RAND Corporation. They have something they call the Jigsaw Project. And the Jigsaw Project identified stuff that on their platform they necessarily didn't want. There were 5 things back in 2019 they didn't want. This happened after that shooting in Las Vegas with that machine gun. Then it was on television for every day for 5 days. Then whap, you'll never hear about that again. That's when Project Jigsaw kicked in. They didn't want UFOs. God, I'm afraid to even say some of these because it'll come up in the transcript and they'll bury this broadcast. They didn't want anything about the President Trump MAGA. They didn't want anything about the virus. They didn't want anything about conspiracy theories. And they labeled this stuff dangerous. And they said UFOs aren't dangerous, but fuck it, we're throwing that in too. So that's why all this stuff is kind of hard to find. But I did run into this guy. I'm going to try and get him on the show. I don't know if it's going to work because I don't know if he speaks any English yet, but he's from Turkey. Turkey is an ally of the U.S. It's a beautiful country from what I hear. I have family over there that speak fluent Turkish. But unfortunately, because of infighting, I'm not going to bring him into this situation to rope him in and talk to this guy in Turkish and be a translator for this. So we'll just see how this rides out. This guy is basically a Turkish version of me, Tom King, over in Turkey, going, what the fuck is this stuff? And then he's recording it. And it's interesting. They talk about circular reporting, where a person reports on something they heard in a broadcast, and then the person in the broadcast hears from that person and reports it back, and no one knows where the true information started. But this person is clearly using all the type of stuff that me and the group and all of us are using, from trail cameras to using cameras, old Sony cameras, and then turning on night shot and putting infrared filters in front of them. They're also really good at telling you what the hell they're doing, so you can replicate their work like I'm doing. They're also, I'll tell you this, they also have their own custom dog whistle to attract UAP. There's going to be just a little bit in tonight's footage, and this predates Jake Barber and these people, because their stuff has been online before Jake Barber and the Skywatcher group comes up. So we'll talk about that, and it'll be interesting because when at some point their dog whistle, their electronic one, is going to leak. And tonight we're going to go, I'm going to, at least with this show, put on record what the Turkish dog whistle type of thing is. And then later, if we find out Jake's is the same thing, we're going to know that they quietly ripped off these Turkish guys. I don't know. Maybe they didn't. Maybe there's different dog whistles. But let's just get the information out there so you guys can use this, decide, try all this stuff yourself. Now, let's take a look around real quick before we get into tonight's video. So there's going to be a number. Earlier, about an hour or two ago, there was a weather balloon over San Antonio. I wonder if Mario had seen that at all. But there was a balloon up. I guess they took it down. Interesting. So that's what I got going on there. As far as the UFO lab is going, I have quite a bit of stuff going on behind the scenes, to say the least. Let's see here. This will be a bit hard to see because it's dark, but over on the right is the pole, the mast, radar mast. And next to it is this building that I put up. It's about the size of one car garage. It's 8 foot by 13 foot long. And what this side project, that's the one I told you is off the books. I bleed a little bit, get some money back, go to Home Depot, buy stuff, whap, whap, whap. This is going up. So that's going to take, it's going to be a solar powered little mini arcade. I'm thinking about moving my radio frequency stuff into that at first, because I don't really have enough cable length to get that working right, because the longer the cable you have on an antenna, the worse reception you get. So I think I'm going to move that over in this new area, try it out there, and once I get it kind of figured out, I'll end up moving it back here in the lab. So it's going to be overflow junk and all kinds of other weird crap. It's got to go in that place. The government's back open. So radar is pretty much off. So there is some stuff going around. There's a Skywatcher Chris Donald sent over some footage of a capture he got yesterday, and this capture actually got around and was reported to Enigma Labs. If that wasn't him, he certainly got it. So let's just do a real quick roll call before we get started. Truth Seeker's here. He's been here early. Dan's here. How you doing, Dan? Yeah, it wouldn't be a Friday night without 4K Skywatching, now would it? Clive, I think, is coming over. It sucks. I wanted to work on this little mini arcade shed thing, because I figured since I poured all that damn cement 6 months ago for the mast project radar, I had some leftover area that was either going to become a spa or a shed, so it became a shed. Fuck it. But yeah, I want to have a Clive over. I guess it's going to be raining, but that's cool. We'll be in here. We'll talk about our film projects that we're working on. I did want to go up. I'm off next week of work, so I want to go up to Sedona and do some an all-nighter, and just take the night vision and point it up, take some 4K cameras, point it up, film the Milky Way, come back, upload that in the member section. That's going to be a long video. But there's a lot of stuff that goes on. Now, Clive was out with Dan and they were doing a Sedona Skywatch. Yeah, let's talk about this. And Dan, I'm pretty sure you've seen that. Pretty sure you've seen that movie because you're the director of that movie. So I hope you've seen your directing movie before I got to see the cut. Anyway, hey, T Fox, good to see you. Hey, there you are, Jim. I need to call you on the phone. We need to talk. So anyway, yeah, Clive has this new movies. He's got a couple of them. Let me cue him up and bring him up here on IMDb. So Clive has some stuff that's coming out. Let's take a look at his page. This guy is one of the most productive filmmakers around. He knows Tommy Chong. I mean, anybody who knows Tommy Chong is fucking cool, right? And yeah, there's me and Clive and George out skywatching a while ago. And yeah, he did a film on Travis Walton, Bob Corbin, not sure who that is. Jor Arpaio. He's the only black man with the balls to actually talk to Jor Arpaio. So anyway, he's got a lot of stuff cooking. He's got a whole bunch of aliens uncovered stuff. I think I'm in Observe and Report Part 1. I think I got edited out of Part 2, and I'm in a few of these. He did one on Jodi Arias. He's got, I think Skywatch was the one that Dan was doing, and it was pretty good. I gotta say it was pretty good. Now, UAP content, he just shows you, here's us going up there. Now, when I got done watching it, I texted him, and the first question I said, "Is this legal?" And he goes, "Well, which parts?" there's a lot of iffy shit in there. I was like, well, you're gonna have to see it. But he's got a 6K, I think it's a 5K or 6K camera. It's just cinema. It's beautiful. And he's filming straight up. And he's filming the Milky Way. And he gets the tube of light. And that's one of the items we're going to talk about tonight is the tube of light. About 3 weeks ago on 4K Skywatching Podcast, I filmed this tube of light, and I got it on 5 cameras. Flew through my entire system. And we watched that video. And at first I thought, is this a meteor? You know, that's what it looks like. And then I started looking at frame by frame. I go, wait a minute. This looks like that tube of light that Steve Barone videotaped up in Las Vegas in 2019. And Clive also made UFOs over in Las Vegas about that too. Damn. So anyway, it's in there. So Clive gets this. And he gets it one time for sure. You're going to see that tonight. But then there's some other times you're going to have to watch the movie to see the rest of them. But he's got some other stuff that happened in Sedona. Just on one Skywatch that he was there. And he had a number of anomalies in this. One of them was the tube. He's got some other stuff turning on, turning off. Maybe some other tubes of light. Now this he was talking about was originally coined the glowing tampon because that's kind of a chuckle first reaction that we had looking at it. I think we need to rebrand it because glowing tampon just doesn't flow off the lips. Really, it's not commercially viable. To, like, if we were to get on News Nation and have Ross go, and next is the glowing tampon video, we got to rename that. I'm calling it the laser. That's what I'm calling it because when you see the Turkish stuff, it looks like one of those lasers at the New Hope when they were firing at Darth Vader at the end. It looks like lasers coming off. It moves at the speed of a laser. So that's interesting. So me and Clive are going to go over whatever we're doing with the films and shoot and then figure out our next Sedona trip. Don't ask. Well, Dan, I mean, you were there. You were driving. And yeah, hit that like and subscribe. This is a crazy channel. We don't do peer reviews here because I don't want you guys to see shit in 2028 that we filmed in 2025. You're smart enough to make up your mind as we see it. So yeah, Clive has a whole bunch of projects involved. And a lot of these you can watch on Apple TV. You can watch on Tubi for free. They eventually go on YouTube for free. And then you just got to use your thing to skip through the ads. So yeah, he is a filmmaker. Proud to call him my friend, and it's great to have a group of people with freaking talent like this around Arizona. Um, so I'm going to start with the first clip tonight, and it's going to be on the laser tube. So it's going to start out with Clive's, and I'm going to stop this at some points and talk. I don't think there's going to be any audio on some of this, so let's just start right now with the tube lights, laser. So up where it says 2019 810, that is Steve Brown's video, and you can see that thing is very defined. Below that is the video I shot of the laser looking thing, and then to the left is the new video shot in Sedona that Clive Christopher recorded. So this is going to roll into his entire video so you can see his clip. So he's got this slow. This is a 6K capture of Sedona and this tube of light. What they do is they come in and then they go out. And me and Clive, I both independently kind of came up with our own idea of these, that these are kind of skimming the atmosphere high up. It's almost like they're bouncing off the stratosphere or something. But in every image you see, it's a tube of light that has almost the same proportions in video after video. Okay, so what we're looking at now is we're going to cut to the Turkish video. And I probably slaughter his name, but his name is Erkan Submili. I think that's how you pronounce it. And this we're looking at his videos shot in order. So we're going to go from 2022 up to recent 2025 videos of the laser glowing tampon. So there's the object shooting by there on February 9th, 2022. And you could see it matches the tube of light. This is different than a meteor. This doesn't have parts breaking off. This is just the same looking object flying by at tens of thousands of miles per hour. So I think since the Skywatch or this podcast has started, we've put two new objects on the list of different UFO types. This laser is one of them, and the other one is the flying humanoid. Now here's another one, same night, different angle, same object, type of object. And you could see on February 9th, 2022, Erkan got this type of thing again. And look, we don't know each other. We haven't met. I never seen him face to face or shook his hand. But he is pointing out, like we are, independently, that, hey, this isn't a meteor. This is something different we're looking at. What is this? It fits in with meteor. If you're not filming and you just happen to catch this off the corner of your eye, you're gonna, hey, meteor flew by. But when you have really good video cameras and you play them back and you go, hey, this looks like a laser flying by. It's like a lit up cigar. Here's another one. It just phases in and phases out. And these are, some of his are red, and that could be because of the recording equipment. We don't know yet, but that's a pretty good match. A little bit shorter, stubbier than the Steve Barone video. And Steve has the best tube of light video I've seen. There's another one from December 22nd, 2022. Same looking thing. Now, as you keep watching these videos, you'll see that, yeah, I mean, the skeptics are just going to say they're meteors because they're lazy. But when we analyze UFO videos, we look at them very, very carefully for all kinds of details. There's another one. This is a pretty good one here. This is, again, February 10th, 2025. 3 years almost to the day of the first one. And that looks like the red laser. Here's another one of this year, April 6th, 2025. So once you see this, you're not going to unsee this. You're going to start going, well, wait a minute. This probably didn't start in 2022 or 2019. We're just now noticing this. this has to be going back somewhere in other UFO films. But if you're using VHS or you're using some old tech, you might not get this. Here's another one. Just a couple of months ago, August 24th, red laser looking thing again. That is, I don't think that's a meteor. Unless some astronomers can come forward and say, here's another February. This one's a little off. I saved this one for last because this one is one of the most impressive. Watch this. This thing just flies in right over his head. And then it cruises away. So there is the laser, a compilation of different videos. Everybody has different recording systems. Steve Rona has them on a Luna Optics binoculars. Mine was on 5 different 4K cameras. Clive's was on a 5K camera. And Erkan's video was on a mix of different cameras that he's using. In most of these cases, we don't really know each other, and just happenstance has brought us together. Tonight, looking at this compilation, there's some there. So I think we need to add to the list of triangles, cigars, boomerangs, this laser type object, the flying humanoid, because the viewers and people are filming this from all over the world. So this is something that, well, at least this we're looking at. What do you guys think? Do you guys think we're just looking at, do you think this is something you have to do sometimes? You have to check yourself and ask somebody, am I going fucking crazy? You know, am I? If I lost my marbles and shit, you need a good buddy that can talk you down, because some people in ufology, they go way too far and they lose it. And we got to stay grounded in science. So you got to ask some of your best friends, what do we have here? And that's what it took with me. Like back 30 years ago when I filmed the Phoenix Lights, I listened to Village Labs. I listened to the people that I thought were the experts and whatnot. But then it took a friend of mine to say, dude, maybe you just filmed some flares. And that was the McCain straight talk I fucking needed to go, well, first I said, fuck you. These guys said they're not flares. But then that just was the seed that simmered, that if one of my best friends says this, maybe I need to pay attention. And that brought me back around that, okay, I don't think I filmed, maybe that 10 p.m. wasn't flares, but the other thing was alien, right? So I don't know. I need to do that here. Are we looking at a freaking laser, a glowing tampon, or are we looking at meteors? What do we have here? That's where the community is going to look at this, and we'll, you guys can talk. Okay, so Tim's saying tube of light. Yeah, we need to look at that. There's no way we can figure out size. The best, and I should have did this, was to take multiple of these captures, put them into Photoshop, and then start measuring the ratio of how long it is, the width by height. Now, what's interesting is they're always kind of, flying perpendicular to the camera, and not too many go this way, except the last one went over his head. Now, in the instance where I have it on 5 different cameras, then we can kind of see it going down this way, this way, this way. Proportionality is a good way to test. But again, the flying humanoid looks like black trash from hell. And this looks like, how is this a UFO? This doesn't make sense. There's people in that thing flying around all the time. It always does one speed. It doesn't go slower. I don't know. It's a new thing. We can't figure it out off the bat. It's going to take a while. Now, Chicky, one thing that we were, I know me and Clive were discussing this, and when I first saw a tube of light, it was on Thomas Fessler's show, and I think Steve was on that, and I theorized that maybe it was just one light and it was stretched out, because that happens. That's not the case here. You could see that going on in Clive's video as he steps forward. Some of the satellites do that. They stretch out, and you can pull them back in with speed and whatnot. But these tube of lights are always just that tube, frame after frame after frame. You can always rewind a little bit. There's still some good stuff coming. Well, the 5K that he has, when I was watching his film, you could see the milk from the Milky Way. So when he turns the camera and rotates it, you can see the Milky Way turning with it. You can see that with the naked eye in Sedona. I haven't had my PVS-7 or the camera up there yet, but I do have a 4K cinema camera. It's a GH5S that should film just as good as his 6K. I probably just need to step the iOS down and mess with that. But yeah, good to see you here. All right. I think I got him. Let's move on. Let me show you this guy's page first, and then let's move on to some of his stuff he's got from the military. So after the show, I'm going to put the link up. Erkan Samili's UFO hunter from Turkey's his YouTube channel. Would like for you to go there, subscribe. I got notification from him. He does podcasts sometimes. I like to get on his podcast and find somebody from Turkey so we can. I'd like to get him on this podcast. I'll go on his podcast. We really need to hook up, man. This is a Turkish brother from another mother. And this is his UFO hunter. And he's got a number of videos. Now, one of them we're going to look at is this cigar-shaped object that was caught on thermal inside of another military. The military over in Turkey is filming this stuff, just like our military. Some of these videos you can see that I've looked at. This guy is very passionate. He talks about. And he was saying he's got over 300 videos. And he does a lot of the same stuff like all of us do, you know. I mean, he's over in Turkey. I'm over here in Arizona. I get to explore Sedona. He gets to explore ancient ruins and wrecks and caves and all this type of stuff that he has over there. He's got red objects. He's got historical hockey puck footage from 1960. He's filmed a lot of... He's got a flying humanoid here, right? Look at that. That looks like some of the stuff that we got. He also shows how he works. Here's his dog whistle type of stuff here. What his dog whistle, I think, is doing, as he mentions, he's using infrared lights, and that's what he has on that thumbnail. And he also mentions that they have a limited distance. So they only go so far. But if you're an infrared, you can laser the hell out of stuff because it's only going to show up with the infrared camera. So you could safely, and I don't know, let's put a legal disclaimer here. I think you might get away with using a laser infrared torch or laser on a plane. If you don't know it's a plane, don't ever hit a plane knowingly. But they won't see the light because it's invisible except for your cameras. So he's doing that. But I think what his dog whistle is doing, and I didn't hear any details on that yet. I'm sure if we ask him, he'll tell us. What he's doing is he's pulsing an infrared spotlight at 22,000 hertz. And he shows that over and over and over. He shows the 22,000 hertz. So he's using, I think, his phone, and I think he's pulsing this light. So what he's doing is kind of like a UFO bat symbol. So he's putting up infrared light from multiple devices saying, okay, this is where we are. We're skywatching here. You things can fly around fast. Come over where we're at. I do that in my own way. I aim some of my cameras at my radar dome. And then I expect them to show up in that area because all my cameras are pointing there. So you need to show up where I'm at. I mean, I think that works. When we were talking with George Knapp, we were talking, should we skywatch over here? Should we skywatch over there? And George goes, it doesn't matter. You can just go anywhere. They'll just show up where you're at. And I think he's 100% correct there. The shirt and the jacket. Oh yeah. That I didn't cue that up. Now Turkey is famous for the aliens looking out the window at sea video. During 2008 and 2009, uh, and Kumberger's Turkey or wherever, there was a number of people that were filming some object off over the sea. Now, the shit for brain debunkers said you're looking at a cruise ship, which doesn't make any sense. The whole thing doesn't make any sense. It's an arc, like a boomerang shaped arc that's hovering. And Roger Lear, one of the partners of Daryl Sims. Daryl Sims is also a friend of the show. He sat right in this chair at this UFO lab, and Clive did an interview of that too. But anyway, Roger Lear went out there, and Roger Lear is responsible, I think, for one of the best videos. And when they blow it up, it looks like a couple of grays sitting there, doing a Beavis and Butthead, something like that, looking out the window. So anyway, so let's get back to Aircan. So he does UFO conferences. Oh yeah, one of the things, these videos that are green here, one of the things that he does that Mario Vallejo and his videos do too, is they're using night shot on these old Sony cameras, and then you put an infrared filter over that, so it darkens it, because these filters are real dark, and then you see a certain spectrum. Now I was watching. Now, what you can do, and what I'd advise you to do if you want to watch his channel and keep up with him, is go to your settings on the YouTube channel. It's that little gear, and then click on that for translate, and hit auto translate. And then you need to click on it one more time and click English if that's your language you speak, and translate Turkish into English. Now, he was doing a conference, and it was interesting, man. This guy, I think me and him would get along pretty good. He's talking his camera. He's very passionate, kind of pissed. He's like, they quit making this. They quit it. They subtracted this from the device. And he's talking about how night shot is no longer a standard issue in cameras. And he thinks it's because it was tactically great to expose where UFOs are. So he does the same shit all of us do. He has one camera to find them, the spotter, and another camera to zoom in, and he uses the infrared from his Sony to spot them. He says, you can't see these in the daytime. You need to do this, and they subtracted it. Now, just to set the record straight, they do sell the night shot in some cameras. Jeff Willis has a Sony 4K camera he bought, and me and him discussed it. One of the best things about it is 4K night vision, just like the old VHS. So you can take that 4K. Fuck, man, I don't want to talk myself into buying that thing. I bought that camera twice, right? I returned it twice. I bought once from Amazon, and the reason I never kept it is because when you plug in the HDMI cable, it automatically goes into playback mode. I need that fucking thing to broadcast live back to these TVs, because it's going to be a spotting camera. So when it automatically shut off going to HDMI pass-through, that was a deal killer. So I returned it. Then I'm looking around for cameras, looking around. 8 months later, I forgot I bought it, and I ended up buying it in the store at Best Buy, and I fucking returned it. Now, I don't want to end up buying that 3 times. The third time's a charm, I guess. But there's probably a higher end camera, because the more expensive that you go, the more shit you unlock. So maybe this camera's like $500, $600. So maybe like $1,000 version has HDMI pass-through, because that's very important, is finding these things. So it might be pretty hard in color, but this infrared thing. So he stumbled the circular again. How did he know about that? Did he come up with that on his own? Did he watch one of us type of Skywatchers and then copycat us? Do we copycat him and then we do it and then he copycats back? So that's kind of circular knowledge going around the UFO community. And it's interesting. He also knows about the Phoenix Lights. So he's got 300 just different types of video. Again, like Mario Vallejo, the guy's a fucking gold mine of data and information. And he does on the ground research. So this is This is, man, I love podcasts like this because we're talking real researchers, a guy like me out there doing same shit people like you are. Hey, Cubert, I haven't seen you yet. Good to see you. Chris Little. Interesting. Yeah, Chris Leto lives over there in Spain. Hey, man, cool. Let's get straight into this because this is about 12 minutes long. And I'm going to stop at a couple points and point out some stuff. This is going to be most of the footage you saw in the thumbnail. We're going to roll it now. The most important one is I have to kind of translate for him. Two of the videos coming up were shot in FLIR by the Turkish military. So he's kind of explaining, and you have to go watch his channel. Subscribe and watch, translate it, and you'll learn some stuff. The military in Turkey is filming the UAP just like the U.S. military is. He was explaining they're sitting there looking out for terrorists. They're looking out for Putin's possible aircraft violating their airspace. They're looking for Israel violating, Iran, everybody, right? They're surrounded over there in the Middle East. They got their fucking hands full in these military vehicles. UFOs show up sometimes. So one of them is a Tic Tac, and it has higher resolution than the Nimitz video. But it's brief. But he's in the armored vehicle, and they're giving him a copy of it. And no one's talked about this, and he did. But who the fuck's going to know? Because it's Turkish, right? So it's almost like it doesn't exist and is buried in YouTube. Let's hit the compilation now and keep going. Yeah. All right, here we go. All right, so he's explaining here that he has his night shot on, and he's showing you that the camera lens over there is 30 millimeter. He's using infrared 720 nanohertz. He's got this. We can't see what the 32 PF2 is, but you could ask AI. He's got an IR 950 on there. Now, he stacked these things. That's the important part. So he's got them screwed together. So it looks like his technique here is taking three lenses and stacking them and then putting it on. Man, that's going to be real dark. So anyway, he's using the same type of technique that we're using for our Skywatches too. So he lives, one area Skywatches is up there, so he films these buildings. And he explained that this particular object that you show here that strayed into his view, he couldn't see it with the naked eye. And there's one of these, he goes to the local Turkish media, and they talk about this. He has quite a few subscribers, almost 10,000 subs. So he's pretty famous over in Turkey. He's got a video like this. It's not in this clip, but it's dropping objects out of the bottom of it. This is still a really good way to find these is through this infrared method. And we're digitally zoomed in here, but you can see the pixels are pretty clean. So I'm not sure. I think he's using a 2000 camera. So we found Mario and Erkan are both using these old Sonys. Right, so there's the object that comes in. And it looks like there's some, also you can see some birds coming in here, flying around. Some of this will have sound, and some of these clips won't. But nothing too spectacular here. It just shows the object appears and disappears. It doesn't do anything too radical. This just kind of illustrates. Even today with 4K cameras, people are still using the old stuff. And I'm wondering how many, is there another version of me, him, this, like there's guys up, Tim's another guy. He has the same gear I do. He's up in Oregon doing pretty much the same thing. There's a lot of people out there doing this. People have no idea how many people on the UFODAP Discord, the Sky Hub Discord. There's hundreds. I would say there's probably about 1,000 people doing the same thing I'm kind of doing. Maybe not with this much stuff, but you don't need this much stuff. You just need a camera. Uno. All right, so here, here's what he's using. He has these devices. He has a white Sionyx. He's got that 400 UV one there. He's got an infrared one there. And then look at the phone. That is his dog whistle right there. So he has this flashing thing. It looks like an infrared, either a UV or it's an infrared flashlight. They're flashing. That's doing the 22 hertz. So there you have it. There's his dog whistle, and there's his laser pointer. He does the same stuff I do. Here's my shit. Here's where I buy the shit, and there's where you can go get the shit.
İnsan gözünün görebildiği bir alan var. Evet. 400 nanometre ile 700 nanometre ışın yoğunluğu arasında algılayabiliyor. Metafizik varlıklar zaten onlar bizim boyutumuzda değil ki. Yani mesela bakın, şimdi bu kızıl ötesi çekimleri yaptığım kamera, bu normalde bununla ilgili çok önemli bir bilgi söyleyeceğim size. Bu 2000'li yıllarda üretilen bir kamera. Bunda nashot özelliği var. Ve bu nashot özelliğini açtığı zaman buradan kızıl ötesi ışık gönderiyor ama kamera kızıl ötesi ışınları algılama özelliğine sahip oluyor ve size çok enteresan bir şey söyleyeyim. Bu nashot özelliği yasaklanmış. Yani şu anda en son yeni bir cihaz alayım diyeyim, nashot yok. 100.000 liralık kamera alayım diyeyim, nashot yok. Bu 2000 model yılına ait bir kamera ama nashot var. Niye yasakladılar bunu? Kim yasakladı? Kimse bilmiyor. Niye? İnsanların görmelerini istemedikleri bazı şeyleri bu kamera kaydediyor diye bu özelliği yasakladılar. Evet. Ve üretilmiyor artık. Ama piyasaya sürülmüş ve bu şekilde bunların kaydı alınabildiğini keşfetmiş ve bununla ilgili birçok görüntü var. Paranormal olaylarda kullanılıyor. Metafizik varlıkları da çekebiliyor. Sahipler diyor ve düşünebiliyor musunuz? 2000 yılından sonra bazı kesimler kim bilir bunun daha da gelişmişleriyle neler çektiler, ne tür varlıklar fark ettiler, onlarla ilgili ne tarz bilgiler topladılar. Ve işte bu dedim ya dezenformasyon. Evet. Biz bilelim. Evet. Kimse bilmesin, herkes bunu saçmalık olarak görsün. Amaç bu.
İşte araştırmıyoruz, araştırmayan, görmeyen bir toplumuz. Bize ne söylenirse
bunlar yandığı zaman göremiyorsunuz. Çıplak gözle görünmüyor.
Drill
İşte
camera.
bu da 700 nanometre üstü ışık geliyor. Ve bu cismin üstüne vurmuş o ışık. O ışığın zarar görmemesi için.
So you can see that he's using a trail camera. He had 3 different cameras up there, and you could see he had 3 of those 30 millimeter filters stacked. Wow, I don't think I've tried that. I think the most I ever stacked was maybe 2 of those things. But very passionate. So the people watching this live probably obviously don't understand what he's talking about. But he's talking about these Sony cameras and night shot and how this was kind of deleted from modern cameras. And he was like, this is the technique. Now, I remember there was some controversy with these cameras where they were saying you could see through people's clothes if you had this special filter and you did night shot in the daytime. So, of course, I rushed as soon as I heard that. I came home and tried it on myself. It doesn't work. It doesn't work. About the only thing it might work is sheer. And you can see through that with a flash anyway. So that might have been the conspiracy theory that started killing off, getting night shot out of video cameras. That, we have to deduct that perverts could see through a swimsuit. When in reality, you can say UAP flying over your head. Everything is a narrative control to keep us the way we are, kind of stupid, consume, drink beer, eat potato chips, watch football, don't ask any fucking questions, and pay a lot of taxes. That's the way the governments like their people. Obedient and malleable. So the next one is going to be inside of the armored vehicle. So I'm setting this up. He got inside of this armored vehicle and they showed him, they blurred the screen, but they gave him just a few seconds of this Tic Tac looking object on white hot.
O ekran görüntülerini fullleştirdik çünkü orada resmi numaralar, sayılar falan var. Tespit edilebilir ve kişi zarar görür diye orayı fulllaştırdık. Şöyle bir görüntü var. Cihaz çekerken cismi etrafında bir kare içine alıyor onu. Yani kilitleniyor ona. Bazen cisim ani manevralar yapıp sağa sola dönüyor. O karenin içinde onu tutmaya çalışıyor cihaz. Tın tın tın tın tın diye devamlı uyarı veriyor. O uyarı
kişi zarar görür diye orayı fulllaştırdık. Şöyle bir
So what did they do with this? Shoot at it?
görüntü var.
Look at that. It looks like it's a classic disc
Çekerken cismi
on hot white.
etrafında bir kare onu. Yani
We
kilitleniyor
should
ona.
be seeing
Bazen
wings
cisim
or
ani manevralar
fuselage if
yapıp
that
sağa
was
sola
a
dönüyor. O karenin
drone
içinde
or
onu tutmaya
standard
çalışıyor
aircraft.
Cihaz tın tın tın tın tın diye devamlı uyarı veriyor. O uyarı verirken aslında o araç
Tanımlamaya mı
içerisinde
çalışıyor cismi?
evet şöyle bir konuşma geçiyor.
Bunun ne olduğunu pek çözemedik. Ama bu yeni olmuyor mu? Kaç tane daha olayı yakaladık. Şahin Göz'le de yakaladık. Yani kanunla da yakaladık. Bak yavaş yavaş hareket ediyor.
Devamlı bu şekilde bir konuşma geçiyor. Tın tın tın yani hedefi tanımlayamıyor. Cisme kilitleniyor. O cihaz
Here's an object he recorded at night. Okay, this is interesting. This type of phenomenon was recorded by Clive in Sedona. And he doesn't know, but this guy records the same type of thing in Turkey with these weird lights that just show up in a flash. Erkin has an eye. He has the eye for this. He knows what to pull out that's irregular, and it doesn't quite belong. Why use lights if they're UAP? Good question. Now, check this out. He's on rooftop. This thing, I don't know what this is, but he does a good job tracking with it. I don't know if this is a balloon or what, but he's a good job spotting. He's a good job zooming in. He keeps it in frame. If I were to stabilize this, it'd be pretty good because it sits in the center of the screen. It doesn't kind of wander up, down, or left, right, off too much. This is a good Skywatcher. And he's got friends over there. He's got a pretty good location, and he's still at it. This guy's still at it. I don't know when he started. Some of his videos that I've seen started around 3 years ago. But he's got a hell of a collection in just 3 years. He's got a flying humanoid. He's got this laser thing multiple times. He's got some interesting night footage. He's got a channel into military people that are showing him UAP that they caught on Turkish FLIR. I think he's going to be a good resource and a good asset. I'd like to see this guy invited to like Contact in the Desert or Soul, or let's get this guy. Let's shine a spotlight on this guy and bring him more in the UFO community. Yeah, it might be a balloon. No string. They fly different when they have strings versus no string.
Şu anda bu görüntüyü
Okay, now here's another one.
bana çok uzak olduğunu
Military
fark
FLIR
ediyorum.
of a cigar-shaped object with portals or windows or something in it.
Burası normal arazi. Bunu göstermek için şu anda Oynatıyorum cihazı. Joystick'ini. Şimdi havada duran bir cisim var. Cisime zoom giriyorum. Şu an burası dağların da arkası gördüğünüz gibi. Bu havada asılı duruyor. Resmen. Herhangi bir yere kımıldamıyor. Cismin daire şeklinde gibi olduğunu düşünüyorum. Şuradan daha net bir görüntü. Evet. Cismin altında ve üstünde tam ortası şu an termal sıcak siyahta. Tam ortasında yüksek bir enerji olduğunu, burada ısının yüksek olduğunu görüyoruz. Üstlerde ısının olmadığını, metalimsi bir durum olduğu gayet net görülüyor. Eğer bu ateş olsaydı mesela, termal kamerada ateş de çok uzakta olsa görünür. Birisi ateş yakarsa dalgalanma olması lazımdı. Çevrede ateş olsaydı şu an gösterebilirdim. Yani ateş yakan bir çoban falan olsaydı tabi kimse havada ateş yakacak da değil bu arada. Şu an bu cismi yerden bayağı bir yüksekte görüyoruz. Dağların da üstünde. Ne kadar yüksekte olduğunu şu an ben de bilmiyorum ama inanın bayağı bir yüksekte. Bu her neyse ben bunu şu an termal kamerayla görüntülüyorum. Şu an ayarlarda oynadığımda tabi bozuluyor. Evet. Şu en net görebileceğimiz pozisyon. Şu anda tekrar ben yine uzundan çıkıyorum. Gördüğünüz gibi. Zaten çok dikkat çekici bir şekilde, yani dağların tepenin arkasında havada asılı duruyor. Siyahlığı zaten hemen dikkat çekiyor. Şöyle, mesela başka bir yere zoom gireceğim şimdi. Şuradaki bir küçük bina gibi bir şey var. Oraya zoom giriyorum.
So there's the Fleur video. It's one of the newer ones that Erkan put on his channel. What do you guys think? I haven't seen anything like that on thermal. I don't know. What I do know is if that's a real image and not some aberration or distortion, I'm not sure what we're looking at there, but you would have a very intense cold in that sandwich looking cigar with intense heat around it. So you would have either the inside is really cold and the outside's really hot, or the outside's really cold and the inside's really hot. And then they had a bunch of little, I don't know, detail looking things kind of trailing off. Interesting. Maybe it's a UAP, maybe it's not. I don't know. We weren't there. We weren't sitting in some Turkish military vehicle and some dude rushes in and say, look at this, and then kind of explain why this is interesting to begin with. So I don't know.
Videoyu burada sonlandırıyorum şimdi.
Kind of looks like the troop transport from Star Wars. In Empire Strikes Back, that thing took off and the ion cannon put up a couple of charges and shot that Star Destroyer down. Looks a little bit like that. Yeah, that other one might have been a balloon. Didn't see it do anything unless it were stopped. Matecula is saying that there's a lot of stuff going on out in New Jersey. It seems like when the drone waves hit, they go on for about 3 weeks. And then by then, everybody's gearing up and it stops. And they move somewhere else. The drone thing is the most frustrating thing at all. I mean, Skywatchers like me, we have the ability to find out what the fuck that is. I mean, if I could somehow show up at one of these locations with my equipment, or that thing dare fly over Chandler, Arizona, I'm going to get that on so many different types of night vision different types of. I didn't think I'd have so much thermal, so much night vision. Hit it with the laser. Fuck it. Arrest me. Arrest me for shining a laser at that aircraft that doesn't exist. That drone. You know. But no one, not even the government of Belgium and any of these countries, can get good optics on it. It's all governmental. Trust me, bro. These don't belong. We delayed a bunch of flights. We can't prove they're drones, but trust me, public, bro. Can't the fucking... And then what do? Do they put out like radar and say, here's the radar, but we can't track them back? Or it's Russia, and we don't have the balls to shoot them down. So we're just going to let Russia fly around willy-nilly over the whole world. Doesn't make any sense. When they can't even get their humanoid robots to walk on stage, when every other goddamn AI company out there now is a humanoid robot. Russia can't. But they got fucking drones that can go worldwide over cities, come out of the water, go back in. Bullshit. That ain't Russian. There's no way. Yeah, what did Greg get? If they're out, hopefully the Tedesco brothers are doing some good documentation. I know they're kicking ass over where they're at. That is a good one, True Seeker. It does look weird. It could just be, I mean, we don't know if it's a UAP. It could be the FLIR operator got something, a spider web. I don't know how to focus. I don't understand how they were focusing that in or out, too. That was weird. But then it's military FLIR. Who knows what the hell they have? Hey, good to see you, Paul. Yeah, I've talked about putting the droids outside, but nobody here seems to think that's a good idea. Okay, we got a whole bunch more video. So we're going to move on from Turkey. Okay, this one's going to be from the National UFO Reporting Center. And this was over San Antonio not too long ago. So we got 3 objects flying. Can't get any, I mean, this is, I think, shot on a phone. What else would it be? It could be turkey vultures just flying, looking around. I don't think this one, I grabbed the sound on this one. But yeah, I don't know. That's the first clip from the UFO Reporting Center. Now, this one is weird. I don't know what these are. This is a series of blue lights. This is somewhat recent report. Check this out. We got a cluster of blue lights moving. Blue lights are not standard aviation stuff. So they got something here. I don't know what this is, but they got something kind of unusual on their hands there. So there's a couple from the UFO Reporting Center. There's some stuff going around Denver. There were sightings last night, apparently over Denver, some red objects. There were some sightings last night over Phoenix, and there was another sighting over Buckeye, Arizona, which is a suburb of Phoenix. Let's look at a couple of clips from Denver.
What the fuck is that? Yo, what is that? Where are they going? Looks like there's a plane off behind him in the distance. Looks like I'm gonna lose sight of him here in a sec. What the fuck is that, dude? That's some weird shit.
It's pretty obvious that his legal name is Mick West, but I call him shit for brains. It's just going to say that those are Chinese lanterns. But the color that we saw there was red, which was the color of a road flare. Chinese lanterns are fire, and fire burns a different color. Here's another video from Denver.
Definitely drones. Yeah, I gotta go.
It's fucking weird. What?
I opened the door to take a bong hit and came out and was made bong hit.
So, do we have the answer there? Was that some drones? Because the one dude, he's like, "Hey, I went in to do that bong hit," and then he comes out, and the guy goes, "Drones." And then at the end, you can see the objects going down. So when they're drones, they always got to go down, and to be legal, they got to have the light on. So was that just for drones? Maybe. But here's another one. But it wasn't in Denver. This was in Wicken, UK. Oh, those British people are shooting at it. Is that Andy? Maybe Andy is opening fire on it.
This is cold.
So, okay, that one, no Chinese lantern. Same type of color that we saw in the Denver. So possibly drones, because it didn't do anything extraordinary. Now back in the day before we had the 5 observables, we had about 4 of Tom's rules, and I can't remember what the hell they were, maybe 5. Of what is the definition of something that's going to be a UFO video back in the early 2000s. And one of them is if you shoot it on a tripod or it's stable and the object does something that it can't, we didn't have drones back then, but a balloon, bag, something like that doesn't do. Does it do anything? Does it move, jump? Does it do a hyper jump? Does it fade in and then fade out like a balloon or a bag can't do, appear and disappear? Does it have any type of technology on it? Another one, 5. Does it look like a UFO? You can tell if it's real freaking close. I mean, if you see a disc real close, you know it doesn't belong. And are we live? You're fucking right. This show is live. Live broadcast, and I got the whole town under surveillance. Hey, Mr. Two, what happened to you? You ever notice this stuff changes with time? As time goes on? Stuff changes. It looks like something's over here in the thermal. I'll go check that out. Probably a plane going by, I think. And moving on, so when it's fire and it's a Chinese lantern, typically you're going to see an orange color because of the hue. And if it's red and it's fire, they're going to have to be road flares to get that type of color. Now, these other objects, they could simply just be drones. Back in early days, when Erkin's camera was brand new, we didn't have drones, so we could rule that out. We were like, well, are these balloons and road flares? Is somebody putting up a prank? And yeah, another thing, drones are going to have a limited linger time. Consumer drones, 20 minutes, 30 max. Unless it's professional drones, sometimes you can get a half hour out of those. And then now these new drones that nobody knows what the hell they are running on hours. And that's anybody who's a drone operator who knows how much electricity it takes, the weight of those batteries, for one of these to be up for hours and hours. You almost have to get electricity out of the issue, and you're dealing with gas-powered drones or something at that point, or a fixed wing, or something pretty damn advanced. These videos here are all from 2025. Yeah, we got the Tankala reporting that there's shit going on in New Jersey. So if you're on the East Coast, watch that. If you can, throw up the link to the New Jersey live camera. There's at least one live camera that overlooks the New Jersey shoreline. And if you were to set up a screen recorder and start recording that feed, let it run all night, play it back the next day, and fast forward and see if you have anything going up from the ocean, coming inland, or going from inland and then returning in the ocean. So even if you don't live in New Jersey, you could skywatch remotely with these cameras using the technique I just told you. So you can record that. No, looks like somebody else wanted to buy. Hey, it's Friday night. I'm not a party guy no more. I did all my partying be in the rear view mirror. Too old for that shit. But it was fun when it happened. All right, let's move on to the next clip. All right, so here we have one from, this one is from Florida, and this is Fort Lauderdale.
Andrew. Andrew.
Now, this one is most likely a Chinese lantern. You can see the orange fire. You can see the fuel source is at the very bottom, and just above it is kind of like a Marge Simpson hairdo kind of thing. That's the paper lit up. So this is what fire looks like on video. And the other videos we watched from Denver and the UK from Wigan were red. You also saw that drop. So that is, I would bet dollars of donuts, that's a Chinese lantern. So that's a good control piece. That's what mundane, somebody put a Chinese lantern up there. And as far as I know, that stuff's illegal in this town. You light up a Chinese lantern and burn it, you should be charged with arson, because that can go down and burn your neighbor's house down. And I mean, Arizona, we really, really think more about fire than you do, say up in Flagstaff, where you say, fuck it, and throw your cigarette out the window. Douchebags throw cigarettes out the window down here in Phoenix, because you could burn up your house or your neighbor's house. Next video here is from Mexicali, Mexico, and it's a small group. Well, on that one, that one's an easy one for me. What you were looking at were ground illumination flares off in the distance, and somebody driving by. I was like, what the fuck is that? Because they're very bright. These things can be seen from like 75, 80 miles. I mean, they can be seen so far that the curvature of the Earth is probably about the only reason you don't see them from a distance. And that has that distinct orange color that some new modern cameras got. I didn't fall off the fucking turnip truck yesterday. I can look at a lot of these videos and get a pretty good idea where about this is going to fall in. If it's a UFO or what the hell. Some of these possibly, yeah, you can explain them, but like that Turkish video of that Tic Tac on White Hot, I don't know what the fuck that was. That did not look like something on FLIR. There was enough information, there was enough pixels that we should have been able to readily identify if that was a drone, if that was an A-10, a helicopter, a bird, a person, whatever. And it was UFO shaped. So let's move on to next video. This one, daytime video. Let's check this out.
This thing is weird. I think it's a UFO. %. That's a UFO. You can look at it from the left side of the window cam. You'll actually see it. It's just sitting there. It actually was moving and I was just sitting there. Holy fucking shit.
Holy fucking shit. Yeah. Yeah, I say holy shit all the time when I see stuff. I don't know what I say anymore now. Probably the F4. You know, I wonder if Erkan says fuck. I bet she does. I bet she says holy shit. Look at that fucking shit. And then some Turkish. That one, I think we were looking at a drone. What do you guys think? I mean, it doesn't fit in at all in the UFO slot for daytime objects, hockey pucks, whatever. I've never seen a hockey puck with an FAA green and red light that, did it. Every time I've seen some type of weird lights off of some UFO, it was random. You never see like the same repeating pattern, like every so many seconds. Like every 6 seconds, this happens every 6 seconds. It's always a few seconds and longer, a few seconds and longer. Yeah, it was a weird object. Could have been a drone. Too bad he didn't zoom in. I mean, we got to teach those people with those iPhones, pinch, move it, zoom in, get something. I don't know about Mylar. I mean, it was too consistent. It looked like a light flashing off that. Anyway, let's move into another one. This is sent over recently by Chris Donald. Now, he got something kind of similar, and he didn't get it too good. Let's see if you guys can see it. You're not going to see this on your phone. He's got some black object up here in these clouds.
It's right there. Okay, you see these two, so it goes blue, that blue line. It's super blue line and there's like two open bubbles. Right there, it's black. It's a blue line, right? Okay, for me, blue line, there's two like little bubbles on the left.
Next object he filmed. He was busy.
I honestly can't tell.
All right, baby. I'll be inside.
What's that?
I'll be inside, baby.
We're fine.
I don't know what that was. Chris has great vision. That's one thing you either blessed with. Either you grow old, or you keep your hair, or you don't. You keep your vision, or you don't. Teeth stay in your mouth, or they don't. So he's got great hair and great vision. Chris does. So I don't know what he's got there. Enigma Labs also had a report over the same area yesterday morning. I don't think Chris's videos were in the morning. Can't exactly tell when he recorded on that time. There's a lot of talk with Atlas 3 still in the news, and it should be. This is only the third time that people have discovered an interstellar object in our solar system. This is probably a regular thing. We just didn't have the eyes in the sky before to see this stuff. This type of stuff is good, at least for ufology, even if it's not quite a UFO. We have Avi Loeb out there all the time beating the drums, the crazy drums, saying, you know, he is not one of these scientists who plays it safe. And, you know, I liken these people to like TV doctors. If you're a doctor and you spend your entire practice on TV, like Dr. Phil or something, you're not a real fucking doctor, right? And then some of these astrophysicist people that spend all their time on television instead of astrophysing are full of shit. Now, I'm going to give you a warning here. Be careful. This next image could cause seizures. Yes, this Neil deGrasse Tyson dude, the most pompous motherfucker around that's an astrophysicist. He actually has given astrophysicists a bad name. He also sexually harassed a few people, according to reports that you hear about him. Now, I haven't heard anything, thankfully, with this guy in I3 Atlas. I don't know if you guys have, but most of the stuff I've been hearing is from Avi Loeb, because Avi Loeb loves this shit. I mean, he probably has dreams about Oumuamua. I mean, I3 Atlas needs a cooler name. I mean, those Hawaiians who named it Oumuamua need to start naming all these fucking things. They got cool names. They name shit like, who came up with the brand of cereal? Probably Hawaiians. They got cool shit. I3 Atlas, kind of just a stupid name. But this pompous guy, he hasn't been seeing it, or he hasn't been talking about it. Thank God. We need to change. If anything, we are going to be finding more of these interstellar objects as time goes on, and we need craft ready, satellites, something to go out there, study it, get a piece of it, report back what it is. because our media is screwed up. Not only the U.S. media, because it's owned like by 3 people, but the whole scientific community too. I mean, they don't even put their toe in the water to see what the temperature is. They won't even get in. They're saying that Oumuamua was a comet, even though it didn't have a tail. How's that work? I mean, it was really just a rock. And what? It needs to get close to a star to burn some off. Then it's a comet. And then if it doesn't burn any of it off, it's not a comet. It's a rock. They don't know. They don't fucking know. All this stuff that you hear, they simply make it up. That's what it is. All these astronomers you hear about, when they're talking about this I3, they don't know what the fuck they're talking about. They're pulling everything straight out the ass and then just making it up. And then who the fuck is going to question them? This astrophysicist stuff is like a religion. They don't, when they come out, they don't use the words purportedly, allegedly, we theorize, I think. They don't start any of their sentences out like that. They start everything out with a command sentence, right? That they know what this is. Look at the resolution of that, right? That's the same resolution as the fire on Donkey Kong, right? Our best imagery can't see what the hell this thing is. But we got this guy, Michio Kaku, and he's out there saying that the I3 Atlas is 8 billion years old. It's even older than our solar system. How in the hell do you know that by looking at this? The answer is you don't. You don't know. He said that, well, this thing's been around long enough that it has a thick crust on it. And if it was a newer object, only 3 billion years old, it'd have a thin crust. So I know that this guy was sitting around eating pizza when he made this shit up. So now I3 Atlas is either Chicago or New York. It's either a thick crust or a thin crust. Right? So that's what he said. And then they ask him, well, what about Avi, right? What about this Avi guy? And what did Michio say? Those are just his guesses. So that's when an astrophysicist puts another one down, because they finally come out and say, well, he's just guessing. Well, aren't you just guessing that it's 8-9 billion years old? What fucking control piece do you have to measure that? They don't know. And then later you hear, well, we've revised this. Now we think it's 12 billion years old or whatever. And the universe is 16 billion years old. They're making this shit up. We can't do that in ufology. I can't look at that cigar image that was pulled off something going, gee, well, that's 1.5 miles long, this thick, and there's this many people inside. Fuck it. You might as well just start naming like the channelers do and say it's the Raelians or whatever. They're from this star system. They eat this type of meat, and here's the pronouns. You can't tell that looking at a few pixels. It's 8 billion years old. This kind of pisses me off. I really don't think much of astrophysics is real. I think it's about as real as Scientology. It's some shit that some dude made up. I mean, 100 years ago, we didn't even have aircraft that flew. We had black and white. We didn't really, have anything brand new. We were using ancient technology. But back then, they figured all physics out. And then it's set in stone, and it never changes. It never does. So this third object, they said it has to be a comet. It's not acting normal, is what they're saying, but it's fucking comet anyway. How do you know what a normal interstellar object's supposed to fucking act like? For all we know, it's the Cylons chasing the goddamn Battlestar Galactica, and we're watching the end of Battlestar Galactica coming to life or something. They just don't know. They're making it up. Especially when they say, well, one guy's guessing. You're all fucking guessing, right? And another one. how far away it is. Well, we know it's this far away and it's this size. But if it's a UFO, that doesn't apply. Like if I have one angle, let's look at the M video. I sent the M video into SCU. Never heard nothing back. So I guess that's like flying, what they call in prison, flying a kite for the warden. You never know if you'll hear. So I won't send in another one. That's the best one I got. If you're not going to look at that, I'm not going to bother. So anyway, what the fuck was in the chat? Fuck was my point here? Ufology. Now I got a UFO and I got one camera angle. They said, well, you can't tell how far away it is because it could be close and small or it could be huge and far away. You can't tell. But how do we tell how big the I-3 Atlas is when we only have fucking Earth to look? We don't have a side view from Mars to triangulate it. But they said, well, we have different telescopes on Earth. It's still one point of view looking way the fuck out there. So I don't know why we can't figure out how big and how far a UFO is on Earth. But we could figure shit out way, way, way, way the hell out there. Again, who are we listening to? The people who guess. They just make up shit. These people are the equivalent of the fucking weatherman, right? You watch the news and everybody has to tell the truth. They have to come out and say, here's our top stories that leads and bleeds. Here's the house fires, the rollovers, the accidents, the murders. They can't make that shit up. And then the guy who comes on with the sports, he can't come out and say, hey, the Lakers scored 1,000 points against these other people. But when it comes to the weatherman, fucking now the news is like fucking woo happens. Anything goes. I don't know how many times they told me it was going to fucking rain here. And it never does. And then you just come out the next day like, yeah, we just bullshitted you. Right? Same thing with astrophysicists. I think they barely know what the fuck they're talking about. Most of the time they talk like they're stoned out of their gourd. Yeah, so the string theory combined with dark matter and wormholes and black holes you can't see. Most of the universe is invisible. I mean, we talking, is this a schizophrenic person talking or an astrophysicist? You can't fucking tell. You can't. If you went to a sane asylum, if we had any, and they had a dude in a straitjacket, and he started mumbling, how is that different than these guys? Not really, because these guys just make up shit. Most of the shit's invisible. You know, if you had a worker who said, everything around me is invisible, and it holds everything together in a string, and there's multiple dimensions, and multiple me's, and multiple you's, and it's like, are you fucking crazy? No, I'm an astrophysicist. Oh, okay, well, that's different. I don't think so. You know, there's too many of these bullshit guys up like this. And they except for Abby, the rest of them dunk on UFOs because the stigma rides high as fuck in science with these guys. Stigma's full blown there. It has not dissipated much because Abby's the only one coming out saying it could be aliens. You know, he's the only. Do ancient alien guys say? Well, Avi Loeb says yes. He's the only one. And maybe he's crazy, maybe he's a pioneer, maybe he has balls, but he's about the only one to say this. And then Mitchell, you see him. I heard he charges $100,000 to go on a podcast. I heard about some of these guys. They figure if I go on your podcast, everyone will watch it, so I want to cut. And I don't know. Maybe it's true, but that's the rumor I heard about Mitchell. And that's my rant on these goddamn bullshit artists who... they play loose with the facts. They're basically astro weather people. They might as well tell us what the weather is on Mars, too. All right. So, got that out of my system. Yeah, that guy. I know you're talking about Neil, the pompous man. So, yeah, he is one pompous dude. I don't know who. There's a guy named Lou Jimenez. He's on Twitter. He was on it. He actually made it in an Ice Cube video. He's so fat that they have to shoot that motherfucker in letterbox. And he's about as pompous as Neil deGrasse Tyson looking dude. You know, Mitchell, he says the coolest shit out of those three. I would prefer to listen to him. It's hard to listen to deGrasse. Harvey's okay for a while, but Mitchell, he could just talk. And then you watch him on TV, and this is connected to that, and that's connected to this, and it's like, well, shit, this all sounds intelligent, but is he fucking stoned? You don't know. I mean, if Mitchell got stoned and started talking, how would you tell when he's sober or high? I don't think you could. He's one of those people, I think he would just hit it. He'd do that bong rip, and then he'd just talk like he normally does. Yeah, well, I gave you a warning. I gave you a warning on that guy. All right, I'm going to wrap up. Try to keep this at 90 minutes, hour. Try to keep this condensed if I can. Tim, I'm going to give you a call. Dan, probably going to hook up later. And I think Clive's going to be coming over sometime next week. We're going to do some deal. And maybe we'll have him on the next episode. We'll see. It's been a while since Clive's been on. I don't think I've ever had Dan over to the lab. I need to have him come over. Got to get your UFODAP set up, Dan. I got him he is UFODAP. Dan has one, and he just about got it set up. He's like, at the finish line, 10 feet from ending the marathon. Got to get you over the finish line there. All right, so we had a pretty good not really Skywatch, but we did a review of the Turkish, the Skywatchers, like the Muslim version of Tom King over there. And he's got good shit. I'm going to drop his link in the chat one more time. Make sure you subscribe to this guy and tell him you came from 4K Skywatching Podcast. Let's get some more out of this guy. This guy's got probably some more footage on there. I want to learn more about what happened inside that armored vehicle when they had that Tic Tac video. Let's see if we can get this released, because maybe we need to get something like that to Ross Coulthard. We should probably get Ross to fly over to Turkey and interview this dude. I think that'd be pretty good. All right, I'm going to wrap up. I'm Tom King. This is 4K Skywatching Podcast, episode 43 on Turkish Skywatcher. Make sure you check him out. We'll see you guys next week on 4K Skywatching. Thanks for the support. Appreciate it. Good night.